It kind of felt like I was raised in the parks. Growing up, my parents were both teachers, and so we would travel for 4 to 6 weeks every summer just exploring the national parks. So it was kind of a natural fit. When I had first started applying to the National Park Service, I was really particular about where I applied. And I put out like 15 applications. I figured, what can go wrong? You'd be moving to an area where the bears outnumber the people. You had less visitation than most of the other national parks. We averaged about 10,000 people per year. Mail was dropped off once a week if the volcanoes were not erupting. And so it was just very different. And when I looked at it the first year, I was like, you have to be crazy to want to go here. Like, you're dropped off by plane, you don't go anywhere for 6 months, and that's it. I probably put out 100 different applications. And Katmai was the first one to call. And I said, sure, I could do this. You kind of set your mind to it when you go in. I found it really refreshing to be disconnected. I mean, even here in Shenandoah, when you're up in the park, you don't have a lot of phone service along the drive. There's not a lot of places where Wi-Fi is available. And so you're really disconnected even though you're in a park that's fairly close to big cities. And so you just kind of get used to it. We always joke that I kind of get, some of the more interesting conversations and things like that. And I think it's just all how we approach it. I think everybody gets an interesting conversation, whether it's, talking about the tongue and groove joints of Massanutten and Lodge, or if it's, why are these, trees out in the meadow dead, or what's all that green stuff growing on the trees? Why are they all dead? And you're like, oh, that's lichen. Meadow's one of my favorite places to be, but I really like coming out, and I learn through photography. I'll bring a camera out here, I'll take pictures of anything in the meadow that I don't know what it is, and then it's, it prompts me to go learn. And so I come, I think, a lot of the times for the education portion and for the experience. I think the experience of a national park is very different than any other office job. And that was something I always told myself when I started looking for employment as an adult, was I didn't want a job where every single day was going to be the same. So I think you definitely find that here in the park. It could be one day there's bucks and rut in the middle of the meadow fighting one another, and then the next day you could be on the top of Stony Man and you're so fogged in, all you see is the rocks underneath your feet. As a park ranger, I'm really bad at keeping in touch with people because my whole summer is spent in the middle of nowhere. So I think it's more of an adjustment for the people that are used to being heard from all the time, and to get in touch with you and you're suddenly like, oh, I'm going to drop off the face of the planet for a few weeks. I'll talk to you in a little bit. Part of the dedication ceremony of Shenandoah, July 3rd of 1936, President Franklin Roosevelt dedicated Shenandoah National Park, and he said it was for the recreation and the recreation in which we find here. And I think that really hits home not only with rangers but with visitors. There's visitors that come here and they don't even realize that they're in a national park. And then there's people that they're trying to go to all 400 and plus national park sites, or there's people that just really want to come to a green space. And so everybody comes for different purposes, and it might be to travel the drive or to look for wildlife or to go hiking. But the recreation and the recreation, I think, really sums up that everybody just kind of has a different purpose.